It's Thursday, February 20th, and this is now on HNN. U.S. health officials issue a coronavirus-related travel advisory for Japan.
I'm afraid I cannot see my daughter again.
And life during the lockdown, an inside look at the epicenter of the viral outbreak.
I see much panic.
Still developing, a gunman kills 9 people in Germany. What we know about the attacker.
Attacks continue to fly after a fierce Democratic debate. I'm Natalie Brandon, Washington, with how former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg is trying to recover from a bruising performance.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
These stories, plus could an underwater tunnel be a solution for Oahu's traffic problems? Coming up on This Is Now.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching This Is Now. I'm Jonathan alongside Ashley here. We're going to get you started with some late-breaking developments regarding the coronavirus. The CDC has issued a new travel advisory for those heading to Japan.
That's right. It's the second coronavirus-related travel advisory the agency has issued outside of mainland China. The CDC advises travelers to, quote, practice usual precautions in accordance with a Watch Level 1 notice, which includes avoiding contact with sick people and washing your hands. Now, the agency also advises people to seek medical advice if they've spent time in Japan during the last 2 weeks and feel ill with fever or respiratory symptoms. Because the advisory is level 1 out of 3 levels, the CDC is not recommending canceling or postponing travel to Japan at this time. The agency also issued a level 1 advisory for Hong Kong yesterday. Mainland China, however, remains under a level 3 advisory, which means travelers should avoid non-essential travel.
We got some local developments as well.
The Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan has released hundreds of passengers after a 14-day quarantine, but for almost a day, an Oahu woman wasn't allowed to leave because she was sick. Here's Lacey Denise.
After repeated pleas with officials, a Hawaii woman has been evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship and is in the hospital. Hundreds of passengers were released from the ship, and that included Honolulu resident Dan Tyson, who got infected with the coronavirus while on the ship. Tyson says his wife started getting sick this week while she was still on board the Diamond Princess, but for some reason, she wasn't allowed to go to the hospital at first.
They said the only way that they know of her getting off the ship was to have that develop into a major emergency, then they'll take her off the ship.
I was so upset because after my husband and my mother were sent to the hospital, nobody come to, sanitize or, nobody come to clean the room.
Tyson's wife says when she told the ship of her illness, they said they could do nothing. We're told she had a nearly 100-degree fever, muscle pain all over her body, and shallow breathing. She had no visits from doctors, and authorities told her she couldn't be evacuated to a hospital unless it was an emergency. Yesterday, both Mr. Tyson and Lieutenant Governor Josh Green confirmed that Mrs. Tyson had finally been evacuated from the ship and is now in the same hospital where Mr. Tyson is staying and will be tested for the coronavirus.
Now, the Japanese visitor who was diagnosed with the coronavirus after visiting Maui and Oahu remains hospitalized in Japan. The man's wife, who also got sick, has fully recovered. Alamo confirms the couple rented a car from them on the Valley Isle, and the company says it is now trying to contact a customer who might have been in contact with them. And we've been reporting on some of the financial and economical impacts of the outbreak, and now the largest shipping company in the world, Maersk, announced it has been forced to cancel more than 50 trips to and from Asia because of the virus. With 30% of the company's business related to China, Maersk's stock's value has fallen 14% so far this year.
All right, with the coronavirus now claiming more than 2,100 lives and more than 75,000 infected, we wanted to take a look at the epicenter of where this is all unfolding. That's Wuhan, China. We got a really good inside look here of just how the city is just crippled. Here's CNN's David Culver with more on that.
Gui Zhenqian gave us a video chat tour of her Wuhan apartment. It only took a few seconds to show us the small space where she has spent the past 20-plus days, unable to leave her home as part of the latest Wuhan lockdown measures.
Since the lockdown, I've been really rationing my food so it will last longer.
The local government has allowed for grocery delivery, but Guizhen fears opening her windows and doors could mean exposure to the novel coronavirus. She's not only protecting her own health, but also that of her 2-year-old granddaughter, Felicity.
I'm looking after this baby, and the floors above and below me have confirmed coronavirus cases.
Felicity is a U.S. citizen. Guizhen's been raising her granddaughter as the little girl's parents are living and working in New York City. But amid the outbreak and extreme lockdown, Felicity's mother is desperately trying to get the pair out of Wuhan.
I'm afraid I cannot see my daughter again. I think if they are affected, I think they will be dead.
Fearing the worst, Amanda Zhang is pleading with the U.S. Embassy to grant her mother-in-law, a Chinese citizen, a visa so she can accompany the toddler back to the U.S. In the meantime, she has started stockpiling supplies in her New York City apartment, hoping to ship them to Wuhan.
We want to send all these masks to my families, to my relatives, and donate some to the hospitals.
But she has struggled to find a carrier to deliver within the lockdown zone. There are similar fears and frustrations shared by other Hubei province residents.
Now we are totally blocked. There's no person allowed to go out.
By phone, Wendy Young told us that she was on day 27 or 28 inside her apartment. She started to lose count. She sent us photos from her window looking out. She says she feels trapped and depressed.
So many people passed away in these long days, and we all suffering.
Back inside Guizhen's apartment, the 61-year-old admits she's relied on cartoons to help keep Felicity entertained.
If it wasn't for Peppa Pig, there'd be no way I could look after her.
But there's an added fear for Guizhen. She says she's also battling thyroid cancer and worries she might be more susceptible to contracting the coronavirus.
If I get sick with this pneumonia, I have no idea what I would do with this child.
CNN has been in touch with the U.S. Embassy here in China about that particular case. They tell us they're aware of the situation, but the reality is things are far more complicated than just simply getting the grandmother and her grandchild on a flight out of here. I mean, there's a lot of logistics working not only within the city of Wuhan, but also in coordination with the Chinese government. Meantime, the U.S. has gotten some 800 plus of its citizens on 5 separate flights back to the United States. All in all, though, there seems to be a fear that is really shared amongst many of the folks we have talked to who feel trapped in the city of Wuhan. David Culver, CNN, Shanghai.
All right, David, thanks for that report. You know, we've created a special section for the coronavirus on our digital platforms. If you go to our .com or HNN app or over on Apple TV or Roku, just find the coronavirus section. We've got all our local reports there if you want to keep up to date or get up to date on that. And again, we'll have continuing coverage coming up tonight at 5 on HNN. In the meantime, we got to get some developing news out of Europe.
A gunman went on a deadly shooting spree in western Germany, killing 9 people. Police believe the suspect's far-right views may have fueled the attacks. Here's Gwen Baumgartner.
German police returned to the scene where chaos unfolded overnight.
I heard shooting, bang, 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 bang.
Authorities say a 43-year-old German man unleashed a deadly shooting rampage in this Frankfurt suburb.
And everybody run, who on the right, who on the left. I see much panic.
Police say the suspect opened fire at 2 hookah bars, beginning his killing spree at the first lounge before driving to another. This witness says it was like being in a movie. They were horrified and crying, he explained. Everyone was shocked. After a 7-hour manhunt, police found the suspect and his mother both dead at this home. German media have identified the alleged shooter as Tobias R. 9 people died at the smoking lounges, which are popular in Asia and the Middle East. Police say some of the victims were of Turkish and Kurdish origin and that the shooter's far-right views may have triggered the attacks. The suspect reportedly left behind a racist manifesto using terminology from the Nazi era, writing about purification and attacking ethnic groups and races, which he called destructive in every sense. German Chancellor Angela Merkel quickly condemned his actions, saying racism is poison and is to blame for far too many crimes. She says a full investigation will move forward and is vowing not to let racism divide the country. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, London.
Now, before the killings, authorities say the suspect posted video of himself online with conspiracy theories about the U.S. government and the military. Another story we're going to stay on top of. We'll have the latest on that one coming up at 5:30 on KHNO.
Meanwhile, back here at home, a grim warning from UH Manoa scientists about Earth's coral reefs. At an ocean sciences conference in San Diego, the Hawaii experts said climate change could kill all coral reefs by the year 2100. They say warmer oceans, acidic waters, and pollution are expected to destroy up to 90% of all existing coral reefs in the next 20 years. Some environmental activists have been working on coral restoration by growing live species in a lab and placing them back into marine environments, but researchers say that may not be enough.
Startling news there, and it really makes you wonder what we have to do to make that stop. All right, we got some more news from the underwater world, ocean news coming from here at home.
Yep, NOAA officials are sharing more details about the most recent cases of toxoplasmosis found in monk seals, including one death from the disease. Just moments ago at a press conference, Angela Amlin of NOAA Fisheries spoke about the threat to monk seal recovery.
We're here once again, unfortunately, to discuss toxoplasmosis, which is a disease spread by cats that is one of the top killers of monk seals in the main Hawaiian Islands. We're only 2 months into 2020, and we've already seen 2 cases of this disease. One, which took the life of a juvenile male monk seal, which makes the 12th known death of Hawaiian monk seals as a result of toxoplasmosis. And the second case is an adult female who was brought in about 4 weeks ago, and we were not certain that she was going to make it, but who is undergoing treatment and who is still alive today and is the first seal that has survived that long that has this disease.
That again is NOAA officials just briefing the media moments ago about the latest monk seal deaths. Our Rick Daysog is working on this story. He was at that press conference. He's going to have an updated report coming up this evening on our HNN newscast. Meantime, let's get to some other news from here at home.
State lawmakers are advancing a bill to explore building an underwater tunnel between Ewa and downtown Honolulu.
Cool.
House Bill 1950 calls on the Transportation Department to study the possibility, considering since tens of thousands of new homes are being built in West Oahu and congestion will only get worse even with the new rail line. What do you think?
I think this tunnel idea is taking off. Elon Musk is making the Vegas one from the convention center
That's
to the.
right.
We did a story on that. I think LA is considering some. And, parts of the East Coast and Europe have been doing tunnels for ages, underwater tunnels too. So, interesting idea, but I don't know if it would actually work here.
Yeah, we'll see.
have to see.
I feel a lot of people feel like they should complete the rail first and then see what happens.
And I wonder about the environmental impact. Doing construction on our ocean floor with just the story about the reef. So that's really crucial habitat. So a lot of questions there. And a lot of questions out of Vegas this morning after that fiery debate. Oh my goodness.
That's right. It was one of the most fiery debates in the election season so far. Democratic presidential hopefuls focused their attacks on Mike Bloomberg. Now, it was the former New York City mayor's first time on the debate stage in about a decade and his first formal introduction to voters in the race for the White House. Here's Natalie Brand.
Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg was in the spotlight and under fire from fellow candidates eager to attack their latest competitor who's been rising in the polls.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, positioned next to Bloomberg, was his toughest critic.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is
Let me
that?
finish.
How many is that?
But all candidates on stage had their sights set on the former mayor and brought anticipated attacks on his stop and frisk policy.
Mr. Bloomberg had policies in New York City of stop and frisk which went after African American and Latino people in an outrageous way.
The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have.
Bloomberg, who has apologized for the failed policy, said he was embarrassed by stop and frisk and attempted to push the conversation to defeating the current president.
I can't think of ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation.
President Trump tweeted his reaction to the debate, calling Bloomberg's performance perhaps the worst in debate history, and adding, if this doesn't knock him out of the race, nothing will. Campaign watchers also gave Bloomberg lackluster reviews.
He literally felt like a visitor on the stage last night. He didn't feel like he was a part of the party.
Despite the criticism, Bloomberg picked up new congressional endorsements after the debate. Elizabeth Warren, who had the most speaking time and most jabs at her competitors, is touting a spike in fundraising. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
And Bloomberg isn't on the ballot in Nevada's caucuses on Saturday, but he will be back on the debate stage Tuesday in South Carolina, co-hosted by CBS News.
All right, I want to take you outside. The time here now is 11:50. A little gray out there, but I wasn't going to complain about the morning when I walked in. Let's get a check of everything, especially those ocean conditions that are changing rapidly. Here's Guy Hoggy.
North Shore is a little bit of a boost today, and then West Shore is going to get a little bit of something. South Shore, still some fun ones, maybe shoulder high, and then East Shore is bigger but choppier, beat up. A high surf advisory posted there. So a small boost is coming in to North and West Shores today. Another small boost is coming in over the weekend, not a big one, but a small boost. And then by Tuesday of next week, this swell will be big, and it will likely trigger high surf alerts about that time. So we're talking Tuesday, Wednesday into Thursday, and then looks like another swell is building for next weekend. Now the winds will be shaping the waves, in an unfavorable fashion over on the windward side. It's going to be choppy, sloppy, and beat up. And remember that wind advisory is posted until 6 p.m. tonight. Even though they'll back off, they will remain at breezy levels through tomorrow.
Awesome, Guy. Thank you very much for that. That just makes me look forward to the weekend.
I know, I can't wait. So remember we told people earlier that Barbie was redoing their dolls to make them more lifelike, more what regular people look like.
And I really like that idea.
Yeah,
yes.
One didn't have hair, one had a wheelchair and a prosthetic leg. Well, the company is now paying tribute to important women in history. Mattel's latest line, called Barbie Inspiring Women series, features jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald, tennis legend Billie Jean King, and the founder of modern nursing, Florence Nightingale. Now, the 3 dolls, which cost $29.99 each, are posable. They come with themed accessories and a certificate of authenticity. Now, the company called these women incredible heroines of their time who took risks, changed rules, and paved the way for generations of girls.
I'm loving the hairstyles.
Yeah.
You see how the updo on Fitzgerald, and then Billie Jean with that 70s Farrah Fawcett wave, and then Florence Nightingale gets her bonnet. But hey, can't complain. It was the turn of the century. All right, you got some other news from a diva that is going to go on tour. She's passed away a number of years ago, but it's another one of those hologram tours.
That's right. Using technology, Whitney Houston is about to appear on the concert stage once again. 8 years after her death and 5 years after the show was conceived, a holographic Houston will embark on a European tour starting February 25th. U.S. dates are expected to follow. Now, the singer's sister-in-law and former manager, Pat Houston, says it's the right time for a revival and says it's a show Whitney would have wanted. The concert will feature a projected Houston performing most of her biggest hits with real backup dancers and a live band.
I love Whitney, but online, social media is sort of reacting to this story strangely. They're saying it's creepy, and they've pointed to a number of other hologram shows that sort of got reviews like the Tupac and Michael Jackson one. I've never been to a hologram show myself. Have you went to one in Vegas
I have
ever?
not, no. And I wonder how much tickets are, because you're not really seeing them.
Yeah. I hope not up to $100 like most concerts.
Yeah.
Well, we got some more food news, folks.
Chicken and waffles are so yesterday.
Yeah.
So KFC is upping its game by introducing what they hope to be a new trend, chicken and donuts. Now, you can order the items as a sandwich, which means a chicken fillet between 2 warm glazed donuts, or as a basket. Now, the combo will release nationwide on Monday, but they'll only be available through March 16th.
That's a low-calorie count meal right there, folks. I don't know about the sandwich version. I love sweet and salty. It's one of my favorite flavor combinations, and I love chicken and waffles. So, I might have to try this out, but I'm going to feel really guilty about it.
Maybe we can half it. We'll half it.
Oh, good idea. Okay,
Yeah.
KFC's right down the road.
Yeah.
See you soon, KFC Kalihi. next
Monday,
week.
starting Monday.
More fast food chain news, and this is disturbing. For the folks watching us on Facebook, I'm sorry you're going to have to see this, and for podcast listeners, we'll describe it to you. And
So-
again, I'm sorry.
Burger King has launched a new ad campaign featuring a moldy Whopper. The fast food chain posted this time-lapse video of a decomposing Whopper to draw attention to Burger King's move away from preservatives and artificial flavors. Now, Burger King says the preservative-free Whopper is already available at more than 400 locations and will reach all restaurants throughout the year.
Okay, good cause. But strange commercial. That is one moldy burger there. I don't know about that. But good way to get your message out there. And you know what? We got some local news to get to, some fun stuff, some good positive news for you, hopefully, because there's a diver here on Oahu that recently found a ring, a class ring, off the waters of Waikiki. And Jim Mendoza is helping him track down the mystery owner. Let's see this story. Here's Jim Mendoza.
Tony Madrona is an avid spear fisherman. In the 40-plus years he's been diving, he's found all kinds of things.
Watches, other spear guns, spears, glasses.
On Sunday around noon, he was at his favorite dive spot off Waikiki near the Hilton Hawaiian Village when he caught sight of it, just sitting there.
I came across this shiny thing, and it was like just a little speck was in the sand in between the reefs.
The water was only 4 feet deep, but Madrona says if the sun didn't hit it just right, he would have missed it.
Then I brushed the sand away, and it was the ring.
The gold ring is a high school class ring. It looked like it had been in the ocean for a long time.
I started to clean it off to read what the ring was saying, and then it was Puno High School class of 1955.
Punoho's Alumni Relations Office has reunited other lost rings with their owners.
In 2017, I believe, we had somebody who found a ring in like a board game box and that was given to Goodwill.
Doug Riggs showed us the 1955 yearbook. There were only about 200 teenagers in the graduating class.
It's a cool story, you know. I think people really have a close connection, especially to their high schools in Hawaii.
The alumni office can match initials on the ring with students who were seniors in 1955.
I really want to find one.
Madrona's a Christian. He believes God led him to the ring for a reason.
Sometimes the ocean takes away your treasures, and now that I found someone's treasures, I want that back in their hands. So I think that's the right thing to do.
Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
All right, wish him the best in that search there. Jim actually has done a story before on a Super Bowl ring that was found off Waikiki, and it was got back to its rightful owner, so hopefully this one does too.
Well, only 200 in that graduating class shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
Not like the Punoho class sizes now.
And it was a cool looking ring. It looked way fancier than the rings you get nowadays. Mine just had like a little plastic gemstone.
Oh, I didn't even get one.
You didn't?
No.
Oh. When did,
Do you wear yours?
Never, no. But my class reunion's coming up. Not gonna say it. 20 years. 20-year class reunions coming up this year. Murfreesboro High School. Go Red Devils.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right. Embarrassing myself yet again. So let's get out of here. Thanks for watching. This Is Now, folks. Ashley and Jonathan here. We'll be back.